Beneath the streets of Vatican City lies a world sealed off from nearly everyone on Earth. Corridors stretch for miles under lock and key, lined with manuscripts older than empires, guarded by rules so strict that even most priests will never glimpse what rests inside. For centuries, these archives have fueled suspicion and fascination in equal measure. Scholars wonder what lies in the countless pages still hidden from public view, while others insist entire chapters of history sleep there in silence. And by keeping its deepest vaults closed, the Vatican has ensured that the questions only multiply with time. If you visit Vatican City, you can walk past St. Peter's Basilica, admire the museums, and gaze up at the Sistine Chapel ceiling. But there is one place you will never see. Behind heavy gates lies the Vatican's secret archives, the Archivum Secretum Apostolicum Vaticanum. The word secretum once meant private, yet the name itself has haunted imagination for centuries. Beneath the Vatican stretch more than 50 miles of shelving holding over 30,000 volumes, letters from medieval kings, decrees that launched crusades, records of the Knights Templar, and Galileo's own defense before the Inquisition. And yet, most of it has never been seen by the public. Access is tightly controlled. Scholars must request specific documents by name, without ever knowing what else rests beside them. Entire collections remain sealed for decades, some for reasons never explained. This secrecy gave birth to rumors. If these archives preserve papal correspondence and state secrets, what else might be hidden there? Whispers of lost gospels, banned texts, letters from erased Christian sects, and teachings excluded from official doctrine. The Vatican insists nothing inside would shake Christianity's foundations. But as long as the shelves remain locked, one question will not die. Could something buried there rewrite the story of Jesus himself? Step into the shadows of early Christianity, and one figure refuses to fade. Mary Magdalene. In later Orthodoxy, she appears as a devoted follower, present at the cross and the empty tomb, yet stripped of authority. But in texts later branded heretical, another image emerges. The Gospel of Philip calls her Jesus' companion, a term suggesting deep spiritual intimacy. A damaged passage even describes Jesus kissing her, a detail that provoked jealousy among the male disciples. Whether literal or symbolic, the message is clear. Mary was favored, and everyone knew it. The Gospel of Mary goes further. After the resurrection, Jesus imparts secret teachings to her alone. When she shares them, Peter objects, not because the teachings are false, but because a woman dares to teach men. Levi rebukes him, asking who he is to reject someone the Savior found worthy. Beneath this exchange lies a deeper conflict between emerging church hierarchy and older mystical currents, where women and men could be equally initiated. Read through an esoteric lens, Mary Magdalene becomes archetypal. In Gnostic thought, she mirrors Sophia, divine wisdom fallen into the world yet destined for restoration. Jesus embodies the solar principle, Mary the lunar. Their union represents the sacred marriage, the reconciliation of opposites without which redemption remains incomplete. A Christ who teaches and transmits wisdom through a woman destabilized the foundations of a male-dominated clerical system. And so, over time, narrative control replaced complexity. In the 6th century, Pope Gregory the Great fused multiple female figures into one and labeled her a repentant prostitute. The image endured for centuries, recasting an apostolic witness as a warning rather than a teacher. Only in modern times did the Church begin to reverse this portrayal, long after the damage had shaped Christian imagination. For mystics and Hermetic thinkers, Mary remained the keeper of lived knowledge, the bridge between spirit and flesh. If a secret wisdom embodied Mary truly survived the early centuries, it would not have traveled as an official gospel. It would have required guardians willing to protect it across generations. This is where medieval Europe enters the story. The Knights Templar began as protectors of pilgrims, headquartered on the ruins of Jerusalem's Temple Mount. Chroniclers note they spent years excavating beneath those ruins. Whether for foundations or something else remains unknown. What is certain is that they grew immensely powerful, answering only to the Pope. Then, suddenly, they were destroyed, arrested, tortured, and erased. Their rapid annihilation left behind a lingering suspicion that they had discovered something never meant to surface. At the same time, another movement spread through southern France. The Cathars. They rejected the wealth of the church and preached spiritual purity. Rome responded with a crusade. When their final stronghold fell, witnesses claimed a small group escaped carrying a mysterious bundle: gold, sacred texts, or something far more dangerous. No one knows. But from this moment onward, legends of hidden knowledge attached themselves to the Cathars, the Templars, and eventually the Grail myths. Centuries later, strange rumors surfaced in the village of Rennes-le-Château, where a priest suddenly acquired unexplained wealth after discovering parchments hidden in his church. Whether hoax or history, the site became a magnet for those convinced fragments of suppressed Christian past still lingered in France. In the 20th century, claims of a secret society guarding the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene captured the public imagination. Many documents were exposed as forgeries, yet the idea endured because it offered coherence to scattered mysteries. Long before these medieval legends, however, something far more decisive occurred. In the early centuries, Christianity had no fixed canon. Dozens of gospels circulated freely. Some emphasized mystical wisdom, others human experience. In 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea began the process of defining orthodoxy. Over time, 27 books were accepted, and everything else was excluded. Some texts were ignored. Others were condemned and destroyed. Today we know the names of many of them: the Gospels of Thomas, Mary, Philip, Judas. Each offered a different perspective on Jesus and his message. If even one of these texts had survived within the canon, Christianity might look very different today. What is not speculative is how much was lost. Libraries burned, manuscripts destroyed, voices silenced. Yet suppression never fully succeeded. Ideas survived in small communities, in oral traditions, and in symbols. To the medieval church, heresy was not just a theological threat, but a political one. And so censorship and punishment became tools to enforce a single narrative. In modern times, the story resurfaced in popular culture. Novels and films reignited fascination with Mary Magdalene as the hidden counterpart to Christ. Scholars pushed back, noting the lack of historical evidence for marriage or bloodlines. But for many seekers, the power of the story lay elsewhere. Mary became a symbol of the feminine wisdom erased by history, a counterbalance to authority and dogma. And so we return to the Vatican archives. Miles of shelves remain closed, entire collections sealed. The church cites preservation and diplomacy, but secrecy fuels imagination. Discoveries like the Nag Hammadi Library and the Dead Sea Scrolls remind us that entire worlds of thought can vanish for millennia and suddenly reappear. Perhaps the true secret is not a single manuscript, but a pattern repeated throughout history. Maybe the greatest archive is not beneath Rome at all, but within human consciousness itself. Texts can be burned, but meaning survives in myth, ritual, and memory. If Mary Magdalene represents hidden wisdom, then the locked vaults mirror something deeper, inner chambers of the soul waiting to be opened. And until those doors turn, whether in Rome or within ourselves, the story will always feel unfinished.